All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of our podcast. We're here today with Mr. Israel Gaudette. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good, good, good. And you guys?
Awesome, doing good. How you
All
doing,
right.
Nick?
Yeah, I'm all right. Getting started for the day. This is a great way to get started. A lot of exciting stuff coming up. So can't wait to hear what Israel's got to say.
Cool.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so if you guys are not familiar with Israel yet, he manages a portfolio of affiliate sites. He has an SEO agency with over 200 clients that focuses on content and backlinks. And he spends a lot of time now doing content strategy, entities, and semantic publishing to drive results. Is there anything important I missed there, Israel?
No, I think you covered pretty much.
Awesome.
Dude,
Uh,
200 clients. I mean, that is pretty wild.
That's
How
a
do you
lot of
find the
clients.
time? Yeah, a lot of clients and then an affiliate portfolio, etc. on top of that. You must stay in front of a
I'm
computer,
busy.
I'm guessing.
Yeah. I keep myself busy, indeed.
Good.
So the agency, the clients, that's actually a newer thing for you, isn't it? I could be
Yeah.
wrong, but I think you were primarily affiliate focused for a while.
Yes. I started with affiliate marketing. It's been almost 10 years now. And then in 2020, I started my link building agency. And then over time, it's evolved with new service. Like last year's, I started content writing, and more recently, focusing really on entities, topical cluster, this type of stuff, because the features is really here in the content. So yeah, so I have evolved a lot. I'm still in affiliate marketing, but let's say that now my revenue source are more diversity.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's definitely a smart thing to do. It's kind of weird
Yeah,
though, because a lot of the time people kind of do the
Yeah.
opposite thing that you did, which is they'll start with agency or client work and
I
then
know.
they'll go affiliate. So why did you decide to go from affiliate and start spending more time on the agency side? Just to
Yeah,
diversify?
you're right. You're right. Normally, that's the opposite, because the affiliate marketing live is offering everything that someone will dream of. But we won't lie that affiliate marketing is like up and down all the time. So if you want stability in your life, probably you will like to have some more diversity in your income stream. Uh, in 2020, I have sold almost all my portfolio of website. I just needed to take like a break of SEO in general. I was working like 70, 80 hours a week, and I have my kids. So I just wanted to take like some time for me. I did try the training. That is being something that you probably talk later, but I did try different things, and finally I just come back to SEO because it's what I'm good at. And yes, because when I started back to working in SEO, I started a new project, but I wanted to have new revenue, of course. So that's why I started at this time my link building agency, because I had already the team to for building links and the setups, etc. So I said, okay, why not starting offering some links to my Facebook friends, because it's where I am the most active. And over
Hmm.
time, it just grew, and I started to get clients from everywhere. But yeah, that's about it's the progress why I moved to clients work over time. It's probably for that, just probably to get more stability
Gotcha.
in my
Gotcha.
incomes.
Now, in regards to you said you sold off majority of your portfolio. Can we ask about what size how many sites that portfolio was when you offloaded?
Yeah, at the time when I decided to sell my entire portfolio, I had 18 sites, but probably just eight was really considerable in terms of revenue. I flipped nearly seven figures all in the portfolio, so that was pretty a good exit to just focus and take some time for me.
Very
Yeah, a little
nice.
breathing room there. Nice.
And do you have a team behind you for the affiliate side, or yeah, what's your team look like as far as your affiliate sites go?
Yes, my team in Canada share between my agency works and my personal side, because uh, it's really connected. Like my guys that build links for my clients also build links for my sites. Same things for my content. So it's really the same team that works for both. Uh, Team size point. I think I have. I It's been a time that I did not contact them because I have probably over 20 employees plus my router's team. But yeah, we have a decent size of team.
Gotcha. And so what do you think you spend the most of your days these days doing? Like, are you just managing your teams, or are you kind of doing R&D, new like tools and stuff? I think that's something I notice from you a lot, is you seem like you're always kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah,
trying new stuff
yeah.
out. And so yeah, what do you spend most of your time doing?
Yeah, actually, not gonna lie that managing my team take a lot of time, but I think what take the most time actually is the data analysis because AI I use it a lot for this for this. I'm just trying to use AI to beat AI at this point, and but yeah, I do a lot of management also for my softwares that I develop because I have two different dev teams
Mhm.
and we are in really soon of a release of one of my software that will be released soon, and another one that is in AV development. So I'm in testing, I am in managing new features. Those things that takes a lot of my time, but yeah, that's probably what my time looks like right now. I have also a affiliate website that we are currently optimizing, and that takes a lot of times as well.
Gotcha. What's
What's
the
this?
tool? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the tool that you're about to release?
Uh, if you follow me, you'll probably heard about Traffic Authority Checker, which is a tool that help you gauge the authority website for link building opportunities.
Oh, I saw
Uh,
that. Yes, I did see you posting about that.
yeah, so actually, it's a free tools that everyone can use. The SEAS version will also have a free plan, but that's more evolved versions of that with build features and a lot of more things like red flags detections, legions calculator, and lots of things that I think Click Builder will really like. And I have another SEAS that is in development which if you follow me, you know, is entitiescheckers.com, which will also have an ACS version probably at the end of the year. So
Awesome.
yeah, that's part two.
Yeah,
Very cool.
yeah, cool stuff. That's something that we kind of haven't been messing with too much. Is actually the development of little tools like you're doing. Have you used AI at all to assist in the development of stuff? I know you were doing all this stuff before AI came around, but something that's popping up these days a lot is people using AI to help code stuff that know nothing about coding. So it's basically something I could do.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I use AI for creating like things like cut snippets for WordPress.
mhm.
Just give you a context. I had to manage the ads for specific countries on one of my affiliate website, and I looked at the solutions online and thought, why just not try ChatGPT just to see if it can bring me something. And I think in 30 minutes I had a cut snippet that just used the geolocalizations of Cloudflare to show exactly the ad I wanted to my specific visitors depending on their country. It's like in 30 minutes. So there's a lot of things that we can do with AI for this type of stuff. For
Mhm.
me, my softwares are it's delegated to agency. I don't do any coding because it's way more complex than what I can do myself. But for
Gotcha.
little things, of course, yeah.
And so you said you use an agency to do the software stuff?
Sorry, what?
You said you use an agency, like a coding agency, to do your software development?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do work with two different agencies for this. I don't handle the code myself. It's delegated. I
Gotcha.
just did the plan and okay, let's do
Gotcha.
that.
I was just asking because Nick's had some bad experience trying to hire coders, and we were talking to
Nothing
Kyle
but
Roof,
bad experiences.
and we were talking to Kyle Roof about it as well. And he was just talking about how hiring coders can be pretty rough if you don't know how to inspect what they're doing, essentially.
That
Um,
is I a few years ago, I built link tracker pro, which was a rank tracker with specific features for. At this point, it started like Black Hat rank tracking tools because it has been built initially to test PBMs, and I wanted to gauge the rank tracking effect when the link was indexed. So I just combined this as a features, and I got exactly what you say about airing dev because at this time I aired three different developers, and every time I was hearing a new dev, it was saying the percentage code was shit and was starting over. So I have spent so much
Yeah.
money rebuilding
Yeah.
again and again. I even changed the UI two times. So yeah, I know about the waste of money doing bring mistakes. It's why I decided to hop for an agency this time that have a software architect, software engineer, a UI expert. So everything is in their hand, and I just feel more confident doing that way. It's more costly, but it's just peace of mind
Works.
for me.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah,
end, is it more costly? In the end, if you actually get what you're looking for,
I think yes.
right? I mean,
Yeah,
because what you said about hiring multiple developers, really, it's like I've got PTSD just spiking at me right now.
yeah,
You'd hire a new coder after this one missed deadline after deadline. It's like, oh yeah, this guy didn't know what they were doing. We're gonna have to, redo 90% of it, and then you start
yeah,
over, but you go through the motion so many times. Yeah, I
yeah. So
not
yeah,
for me.
at the end, you waste money trying to save because of course, hiring just one developer will be much cheaper, but at the end, you have nobody to monitor its code, so you don't know what is the quality. You- So yeah, dealing with an agency
Right.
that have a teams handling the work of others is just you have overall better quality, and at the end, for the it's cheaper, yes.
For sure. Yeah, so I know one of the tools that you've created, I guess it's still, maybe still a work in process, was the one that you use to inject entities into schema for
Yes,
semantic publishing. Um,
yes.
so I'll use that to kind of segue very gracefully into our next segment, which is, yeah, if you guys are not aware, Israel just wrote an article recently about EAT or EEAT and authors. And yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit more about EAT and entities and just what he's doing with that because it's kind of something different than I've seen as far as anyone else that's talking about EAT and entities and all this stuff. So I guess first of all, just for anyone that's kind of newer that's watching, could you give us just a very brief explanation of what EAT is and why it's important?
Yes. I won't just talk about what the letters stand because I know everyone knows what the letters stand for, but I think if I could explain it in my words to make it easy to understand for people that probably don't are not familiar with the concept, it is just a way for Google, I think, uh, to know what is trustable on the web and what is not, and using different way to achieve that. And in my opinion, if we can start with the first E for expertise, for me, it's just the goal is to show that the person that is real. Because the goal is show results on the web, we want to make sure that the source you refer to its users is trustable. So it start with, okay, does the order is real? Is it a real person? So that's where I think comes the expertise from the he. So basically, how you can achieve that is like having another page that you have a bio that describe what you are expert and the order schema. Semantic publishing is a powerful way to just show to Google what is about and their meanings. Some strategy also is like create ebooks on the web and just add them as in the same as attributes. Most of SEO plugins like Rank or Yoast have these options in the you can set the same as and just add some footprint to show that you are a real person. And of course, social media accounts. That is important that you have real social media account, and ideally that you are active on them. So just Google realize that you are a real person. So for me, expertise is that it's show that the order is real. Okay. So some people like just you generic username like admin or plug name, whatever, and there is no footprint at all on you is the order. And I think that is something that is super important to set up on your site. And it's not something that is really difficult to do. Even if you are in the affiliate industry, you can still create fake persona and do that thing and stuff. So it's really worth the effort. For the experience, it's about the show that the order is the expert on the topic. So here we go, the order bio page. So in the bio, you have to talk about the past experience of this specific order. What is its expertise? Does he have any education? That type of stuff, just to show to Google that, okay, he knows this stuff and he write about this stuff on this side. So if you have a website and let's say the recipe is niche, you will like ideally have an order that is achieved, something like that. So that is what for me is the experience for the E later. The E for authority. Yes, I was have problem to say that word, but yeah, this one,
Authoritativeness. That's a big
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. So I think there's a mix of confusion probably for this one. Probably a lot of people think that is related with domain authority, but it's not the case. It's really the authority of the order, based on the like it's the topical authority for the orders for the specific topics that he just write about. So if you have, let's say back again on the recipes website, let's say that you have lots of recipes on the Asian foods, you will probably have an orders that have a lot of experience in that specific segment of the food, and then have a lot of articles on Asian foods in general. So that's how you can build your authoritativeness for your orders. And finally, the trust is like the goal is show that to Google that you are a real business. So have an about page, your contact informations are in the footer, copyright, your legal informations are in your schema, showing that you are a corporations, an individual, that type of stuff. I think it's really what it is, and it's 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 for Google a way to just justify, okay, this website is legit, and at this point, I can consider its content and rank it.
Gotcha. And just one thing to before we move on, you had mentioned using Google or maybe Google Books or something, but you had mentioned writing a book and putting it on Google and something else. What were those two platforms that you mentioned that you could put a book on, and how easy it is? How easy is it to do that?
Repeat that. I did not understand.
The you had mentioned that for expertise, when you're
Yeah,
establishing the expertise of an author,
yeah,
you can actually write a book and then
yeah,
post
yeah.
the book on a platform like Google, or I think there was one other platform you mentioned, um,
Amazon Kindle.
Amazon
Yeah,
Kindle, okay.
Kindle.
yeah.
And so how easy is it to actually, put something up there?
Actually, it's crazy. For Amazon Kindle especially, it's easy and there's no footprint. I don't personally use Google Books, but I think most of the time when you promote your book on Amazon Kindle, it appears automatically. But what
Mm,
I like with Amazon Kindle is that there is no footprint for the publisher. So that's great. So you can just use the order, which is your persona, and it's just about creating footprint on the web
yeah.
with your order. Ideally, the ultimate goal is when you search your personal name or your real order, if you have a real business, of course, it's just to have some results that appears on the first page that is related with your orders.
Mm.
It's the ultimate goal is that.
Awesome. Yeah, well, hey, that's a good idea. I think I'm gonna go
Yeah.
write like 50 ChatGPT generated books
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. That's
Right?
pretty easy. That is, you don't need to have AI content for that. Works perfectly. Yeah.
yeah, oh my God, that's some good stuff. I'm gonna actually probably do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, Yeah, so, and then before we move on a little bit further, one of the other things you talk about a lot is entities. And
Yeah.
so before we dive into how you're using entities to help establish EAT, yeah, tell us a little bit about what entities are and why they're important.
Yeah, actually, an entities is some things that mean something else. That can be a word, a topic, that can be lots of things. The way I use it is using topics, because Google, since the BERT algorithms, when it started to integrate BERT, it stopped using keywords
Hmm.
for the analysis and started to use the entities, which are the topics. Uh,
Hmm.
any knowledge base works for entities. You can have knowledge base that are specific to music, like knowledge base specific for movies. Uh, the important is to take one that you believe Google trust and use for its own knowledge graph, because it's like a summary, a big database of all the knowledge base of the web. Personally, I stick to Wikipedia. Honestly, there's almost nothing that is not available on Wikipedia, so it's where I really find my entities, and I make sure that when I leverage my semantic publishing, my schema, that the relevant entities are associated to my content. So when Google visit my articles, my content,
Hmm.
straight from the schema, which is the first thing you notice, that okay, the topic is about that. So when he start to crawl my content, he already know what is the content about. So you don't
Hmm.
have to think further, and there is no ambiguity on what the content is about. So it improve indexations, speed, ranking, and all those stuff. There's a lot of benefit, honestly, leveraging entities for almost everything, because it's part of the algorithms. I use entities in my backlinks. I use entities in my content, my schema, in my orders, because orders have the knows about schema value, which is exactly where you will put your expertise. So ideally is to find expertise that have an official entities associated to it, and then add the air like dietitians, like things that are recognized by Google officially.
What do you mean you use the entities for backlinks? Like, are you talking about just like using the like, because normal, a lot of the time when you're talking about entities, you're talking about actually kind of injecting them via schema, like on your own website. So
Yeah.
when you're using entities for backlinks, are you just talking about
Uh,
using the entities like in the content, in the title, in the URL, things like that, or what?
yeah. The the backlinks, the most relevant is the way Google's word
Anchor
is,
text.
yeah, anchor text, of course, and also the URL from the backlinks
Yeah.
provenance.
Hmm.
Uh, I I have a theory that if Google look at the URL and the target URL, you can see that if the associations is relevant, and look at the distance from a semantic point of view of those two topics. So let's say that you have an article on affiliate marketing, and you get a links on a WordPress, an article that is about WordPress. So the distance is really far. I mean, it's not close. So
Hmm.
of course, from my point of view, if you have an article that is about probably SEO, it's already more close on the topic of affiliate marketing, because affiliate marketing is part of SEO as well. So
Hmm.
that's how I use entities in my backlinks. What I do is I look at my target page, so the page I want to rank. I
Hmm.
look at the prominent entities that are on my page. So what is my page about? And I
Hmm.
find these entities, and then I look to Wikipedia for these entities. And on Wikipedia, when you are on the page of your entity, you have all the others relevant entities are interlinking between them. So you have can click and see other Wikipedia page with
Hmm.
relevant entities to the main topics you are talking about. So that is how I leverage entities in my link building campaigns. It's how I do that. So I just look at the entities in Wikipedia. I
Hmm.
look at all the relevant entities that are relevant to mine, and I make sure that I plug this in my guest post title, which will be at the end in my role. So the relevancy and the distance between the two topics will be really close together.
Hmm.
And of course, you can add this in your anchor text. I have written an article about that recently, about uh, finding anchor tags that are user Google friendly for this and will help ranking. You should have a look. I'm sure you will like it.
Are you talking about the
Yeah.
one with ChatGPT?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I saw that one. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're saying, okay, so you look on Wikipedia, like, so let's say you have an article and your main entity is link building.
yeah.
And so then you would look up link building on Wikipedia, and you would basically look for things like other things that you could click to from that Wikipedia page as basically if you can click it from that page, it'd be like one of the most relevant entities that's related to link building.
Yeah, that's one way you can do it. Also, you can use my tool entitiescheckers.com to do that. And
Mm,
it's what I do most of the time because it's just faster. Uh,
mhm,
let's give an example of link building. Uh, if I remember, I'm not, I can check right now, but I think guest post is not an entity, is not recognized officially by Wikipedia. There is no Wikipedia page, so it's not an
mhm,
official entities. But if you look at the alternative, you have Link Farm, which is an official entities. So at this
mhm,
point, so you have an article which is a link building guide. You could have a guest post like how to build guest posts and preventing link farms, something like that. Just having the
Right.
links farm associations in your title. So at this point, you just make the distance between both connected. Because if you look at link building, which is an entity, I'm sure you will have link farm in the internal link of the page that point to that specific entity.
gotcha. And
Makes
so,
sense.
so yeah, you use Wikipedia a lot to kind of
Yeah.
to gauge your entities and how close they are to each other. Is
Yeah.
there a reason you use Wikipedia? Is it just because it's like widely available? Because surely Google has their kind of like their own
Yeah.
way of measuring everything, but I guess we don't really have access to that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a beta API for the knowledge graph,
Hmm.
but it's the data that provides is not accurate. I mean, there's so limited you don't can't really navigate like you can do in Wikipedia. And I remember I've seen a few years, I think last year or 2 years ago, an article that on Vert that was saying Google recognized knowledge base on the web, and they have included in dimensions Wikipedia and Wikidata. So from my point of view, I know that those knowledge base are recognized solely by Google, which makes sense because it's the
Right.
two biggest. So it's why I stick to them because I just want to don't play with fire and make sure that the entity I use are recognized solely by Google. So it's why I stick a lot with Wikipedia. And honestly, there's all the entities are almost there. It's so big.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah, so you wrote that article recently that was dealing with EAT for I guess mainly for authors, so it'd be the expertise, the first E part of EAT.
Yeah.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about that. Give us a quick rundown.
Yeah, yeah. So what I explain is to make like an audit of your website of no your author content and try to find the prominent entities that is relevant to the content that your authors write about. And then when you are in your order bio, you create your order bio, you have to choose those entities and put them in the expertise sections of your bio and
Hmm.
add them in the knows about field in your schema orders. In my articles, I explain everything like with the template you can use, this code snippet you can use to convert your custom fields variable from to rank map recognized variables of that
Hmm.
stuff. So it's in-depth articles, but if you follow it, you can do it completely. But the point is, if you have a website, let's say on fishing, you would like to have another that is an expert in a fisherman, something like that. So it
Hmm.
just makes sense to take the entities just to make sense. When you call entities, I mentioned topics. So, but both are recognized by Google, but technically, Google prefer use the terms topics, but they are the same.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's to find the main topics associated to the content that your orders write about, and
Hmm.
try to make sure that your order write about relevant topics. I mean, if you have an order that is you have a website in the outdoor space and you have hiking, fishing, camping, all those stuff, ideally you will not have to have the same orders that write about fishing. You will really have an expert on that and someone else to write about other categories because they are not really uh, connected together. So just
Gotcha.
try to make it focus on the topics or the content. It's just better because
To
otherwise you make like I call this typical dilutions. It's
mhm.
like if you have an order that write about 10 different topics and the topics are not relevant together, you just dilute instead to just focus on one topics and show the girl that you are a real expert on that because you just write about those topics and nothing else. So that's
Right.
how I leverage the typical of my orders.
Gotcha. And yeah, if you guys haven't read Israel's article on this, I really recommend you watch or you read it because, like you said, it's pretty in depth. And what he's doing is definitely more technical than I'm used to doing. He's using advanced custom fields to get all this information about the authors, and you're automatically injecting it into the schema and for the articles and for the author pages with all this information about the author. So you're really like force feeding it to Google. You know, this is what this person
Yeah,
does. This is what they know about. These are, this is what they're an expert on. Yeah, in a very systematic way so that Google really cannot mistake,
yeah,
what this
exactly.
person
We
does.
Yeah.
remove every ambiguity that way.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you make me feel very lazy if I'm being completely honest about my tactics on it.
Yeah,
Definitely worth a read.
me and Nick are schema deniers. We're like the laziest people with schema in the world.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's definitely something that we need to add to our SOPs. Um,
uh,
because like you said, and we've actually given the same advice to other people when they ask kind of different questions related to SEO, and the answer ends up being, you want to, if you have the opportunity to give Google information about exactly what you're doing, it's a good idea to do that.
yeah.
And so yeah, like you're doing with the schema with the authors, it's just a great way to just force feed them.
Right.
Yeah. And in the SEO, the more you do, just the better it is. So I know that sometimes we feel lazy and we don't want because it just take time or it's a boring task. But at the end, I think if you really care of your websites for the long terms, it's just better to do the more as you can and just actually in my 3 new website I have started from my portfolio last year's they have grown all despite all the algorithms update that we have seen, and we have seen that the recent has been really rough for a lot of people. So I
Mhm.
just think that it's really just good to take the time to set up them. I know it's boring, but once it's done, it's done. You don't have to
It's
do
done.
this over and over. So I think it's totally worth it.
Gotcha.
Despite that,
And
it's
it's
boring.
but yeah, you're maximizing efficiency, right? I mean, then everything you do after the fact is set up on a foundation that's
Yeah.
launched for success. So yeah, makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and if you look at the schema things, it looks like so complex and but when you have done a few times, it's something that take like 1 hour to do. It's
Yeah.
not that it's not that that's insane. It's
Yeah,
yeah, the
it's
first
not that I haven't done it before. It's that I just like you said, it isn't the most fun, I guess, for me. Like my mind just
yeah.
doesn't really want to do it. So yeah,
But
find
but
myself
but
lazy if I'm being honest.
But you have everything already done. The
Yeah.
worst was to try different cut snippets and try
Yeah,
this. I have
right.
wasted lots of hours doing that. Now you have the solution. Just
Yeah.
copy paste and you're done.
Right.
Yeah,
It takes a-
I'm definitely gonna use that if or when I get into this stuff a little more heavily.
yeah.
And yeah, like I already mentioned it, but yeah, definitely go check out his article because he's really doing some kind of cool stuff. I just kind of got on the advanced custom fields train not too long ago. I just kind of found out about what it is, and it's just kind of like mind blowing all the different stuff that you can do with it. So it's cool to see you using
Crazy,
that
yeah.
for your author um, uh, schema. Yeah. So is there anything in the article that you would like to kind of expand on that you didn't quite get to talk about?
No, I don't think so. I think honestly the article has been pretty in depth and explain everything about this.
Gotcha.
It's the important part is really to find the prominent entities for your orders, and once you have this data, you just can start implementing the EAT process.
Gotcha. So I know this would be a very hard thing to test, but have you done any kind of testing on similar sites? One website, for example, using this author schema and the
Yeah,
other not using it and just kind of seeing how the differences
I
and how they,
did. I in my article, I state that from my test, I have recognized them as a ranking factor. Some people just reach out to me. You're an idiot. It's not a ranking factor. It's Google say it's not a ranking factor.
uh,
Fine.
Yeah, sure.
We won't deliberate on what is true from Google and what is not. It's like Chrome Web Vitals that lets people before saying it's not ranking factors, but the day you pass green in console, you see your ranking jumping in Google search. So it's like personally,
Hmm.
I take and I leave from what Google says. I did the test on the exact tutorials, the exact process. I have
mhm,
implemented it on 3 different websites, my 3 new website at
mhm,
different moments. So I want to make sure that it has not been impacted by a major update. But testing is never as a 100% thing because there's so many factors that can impact. But all the times I did it, I just use a tools which SEO Crowd was on AppSumo recently, which is great because you can say, okay, I did this to my website, and it monitor your data from Google Search Console and show the 7 days before, 7 days after, and can do that up to 60 days. And then I use that to track the before and after my implementations,
mhm,
and my for my 3 different sites the ranking improvement has been from 9 to 20%. It's not a magic, it's just, but it's still considerable. And if
mhm.
that I say to people, if you don't do it for the ranking, just do it for the long-term viability of your site. Your user will like to see that the orders is real, so you just do it for this. Do it for Google in case he officialize one day that he is a ranking factors. So I think
Right.
it's, if you don't do it for the ranking benefit, at least do it for the viability of your project, your site, your business.
The protection from
Yeah,
Yeah,
Google so they don't
yeah,
destroy
yeah.
your business one
yeah.
day.
Google is just waiting to hit you in the next update. So just do
Eh,
the maximum.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, that's definitely a good that's definitely a good point. You know, if you are very risk averse, if you're a person who does not who wants more stability in their affiliate portfolio, like we were talking about earlier, maybe implementing this stuff to the absolute maximum with the
Yeah.
schema is a good idea, right? Um, yeah, so are there ways to do this without schema?
Yes, of course, you can do it with the semantic relationship, which could be through your backlinks, injecting the entities in your content. Actually, it's what I do. When I send the brief to my writers for articles, what I do is I use the tools entitychecker.com, and you have the SRP Explorer features on that, which you can look at your keyword, the country, and then you select your direct competitor similarly that what Surface SEO does. And then you can export all the entities that the website have, and you can say, okay, give me, let's say that you have selected 5, 6 direct competitors. You can ask the tools, give me just the entities that all the from the 6 competitors you have selected that at least 3 have. So you find the prominent one. So that's what I do. I just take this, I export this, and I send this to my writers, which will import this to the external keywords in the Surface SEO to import in the content. So firstly, I optimize using a tool, Super SEO, but I also optimize for entities because I import my keywords in the tools.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I guess one of the last things I want to ask about this, I'm sure you remember, or maybe you still even do this. People used to geotag images to try to boost their location relevance for local SEO. And
Yeah,
I'm not denying that the schema injections are not powerful. I'm not trying to say that. But it does kind of remind me of it in the same way as basically someone doing this, with these geotagging. It's like they're really trying to force feed to Google, this is where we are, this is our location. And it kind of
yeah.
reminds me in the same way of that. And I guess my question is, do you, as Google gets smarter, or maybe they don't get smarter, maybe they get not as
It's maybe
smart
just
since
an
they're
illusion.
well, I think they're cutting. I think they're
Maxed
cutting a lot
out.
of their budget
Yeah,
for search. So
yeah.
maybe we stop seeing search improve or whatever. But anyway, do you see Google kind of do you see these schema injections ever becoming irrelevant as Google gets smarter, or do you think there's just something that's going to be you should be doing for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, I think like I told you, it's not a magic thing. It's just that you want to make sure that there's no ambiguity for Google. I think Google will crawl some content and will totally understand what it's about, and we crawlers and will have some doubt. I think there's like a distance matrix that depending on the relevancy of the entities that it found in the content. Okay, I'm 100% sure that this article is about this, but this one I'm just 80%. So if I have a chance to rank one or the other, I would just opt for the one I'm 100% sure. Of course, because Google want to show the most accurate result to its users. Is why everyone is using Google because
Mm,
the results are good. So I think from that point of view, I prefer don't take chance. I prefer just to use the schema approach to make sure that Google understand what is my content about. And I think it also helped with indexations and ranking in general because uh, I don't have any tests that prove my theory, but recently I published a clusters, and for some reason there were one article that it was indexed, but the ranking was the category page for my keyword. It was why it ranked my category page. So it recognized the main keyword from the article's titles and my category page. So try to rank this instead to just rank my article. And I
mm,
did not set my schema at that time. So I finally decided to implement the schema on my wall clusters.
mm.
And I think it takes 3 to 4 days and it's starting to rank for the articles instead for the category page. So I think it could be a coincidence. Like I say, there's no test that can be accurately say 100% that is. But I think it have really some benefits that are worth putting the effort on.
That's an interesting point, though. Something that we get asked pretty often in our Facebook group is, basically something's ranking, one page is ranking for a keyword that it's not supposed to rank for, some kind of cannibalization issue or something like that. And, a lot of the advice we normally give is, of course, your just on-page optimization, the content itself, your interlinking, even backlinks can help all of these things. But one
Mhm.
thing we never give advice on is using schema to fix it. Um, and so that I don't know. Was that kind of where you're going with that? With you were saying your category page was ranking instead of the article that you use schema and you're not 100% sure if it helped, but it actually fixed the
Yeah.
problem.
Yes, totally. That is.
That's pretty
So,
cool.
and yeah, and there is different scenario like this that I have just seen my cluster kick off after implementing this schema. Because like I'll give you as an example before, if Google has a doubt, it would just rank someone else. So it just remove any ambiguity and make sure that Google understand the content. And I think I don't really know exactly how the algorithm works. Probably that Google start crawling the schema apart and come back later and have probably a better understanding of what it's about and probably when it process the content. I don't know. It's probably made in different crawling process because, as you know, Google is has some resource powers that you have to respect. But I think I think I'm sure that the first thing you notice is the schema. So if I provide the answer to Google before you start analyzing my content, I think it has some impact. I can't prove it, but I believe that it is the case.
Gotcha. And I guess the last thing is, I think you had mentioned this briefly before, but um, it seems to me like this could be pretty powerful, and I've no data to back this up because I'm not a schema person, but it seems like doing all this stuff, using schema in general to inject entities into all of your content and your authors and blah blah blah, all this stuff. Um, could be really useful for new sites, especially in the very beginning when Google's still really trying to figure out like, okay, what is this website? What are you trying to talk about? And they're just really trying to connect all the dots and the so the very beginning process when Google is discovering the website and beginning to index it. Do you have any experience with this stuff using on
Not
a very new
specific with
site? Sorry, go ahead.
not with new site, but uh, I think could have some potential. I think entities using entities and your schema help everywhere. It can be for e-commerce stuff. If you
Hmm.
have a projects, you make sure to use the entity that is related with your projects. Like can be colors, can be example you have different wallets and colors. So in your project of a blue wallet, you can have like the entity of money wallet and then the color is blue, all that stuff, the price. It just make it clear for Google everything is about. If you have a news site, you could probably just write a news about, let's say that you just talk about Donald Trump, but you don't say Donald, you just say Trump.
Hmm.
Trump is whatever, but just using the entities Donald Trump because you have an entity is popular,
Hmm.
but it could just be straight to Google to say, okay, this article is about Donald Trump and not about anything else. So I think the benefits is for everything. It can be for local SEO, news sites, affiliate. It just give the answers to Google what the content is about. So yeah, I'm sure it can have benefits.
Gotcha.
Don't know if there's more benefits like for Google Discover this type of stuff because I never own a news site, but I don't see why not.
Gotcha. Well, I have to play with that and just see how it works with getting new stuff indexed really quickly on newer sites, especially. But yeah, anything more to add on entities and EAT and authors and all this stuff before we move on to the next part, which is everybody's favorite?
No, I don't think. I think not that comes to my mind right now.
Okay. So yeah, so
Here
on
we
every
go.
podcast that we every podcast that we've done so far since we rebooted it, since we started doing these again, we made sure to talk about AI just because how can you not talk about AI right now? So I guess
Yeah.
to start off, Israel, how are you currently using AI as part of your workflow? What are some of the things you use it for the most?
I do use it a lot, like probably a lot of people. However, I'm not using it for generate content. I use it for data analysis.
Hmm.
Uh, just give you an example. Of course, I have a lot of affiliate content. So what I did is I trained using vector memory AI for project review guidelines, and then I asked AI, okay, look at the guidelines for project review and
Hmm.
the helpful content guidelines, and then analyze my content and make me the recommendations to fit perfectly the Google's guideline. And
Hmm.
then yeah, it's just analyze my content. Okay, you should add these sections, you should add do, you should change this, and then I have a graph that I can update my content and because project reviews update is something that is lots of people has been hit
Yeah.
with with the recent algorithms update that especially it's affiliate marketer often.
Hmm.
But I use this as just an example. I use this for a lot of things, but it's mostly for data analysis things. I
Gotcha.
think it will have a big roles for SEOs. Uh, I think most of the people just see it like the eye to generate content for cheap, but it can do much more. It's all about the prompt that you suggest to the AI is what you can ask it anything, but the data you provide to AI first and before asking to do the task is all what make the difference.
That's really
Now,
cool. Go ahead, Nick.
Well, I was just going to ask, curious, because I feel like, especially talking about AI in this day and age, 90%, if not more, of the people talking about AI are using it for content generation. That's the
Yeah.
big popular topic right now. Why don't you have an interest in, implementing it for content creation, at least at this point in time?
Yeah, actually, I think that the AI content, depending on the prompt, is the content that would generate is I, it could probably be used for writing things like give you a context for a local business. So let's say
Sure.
that you have a business that have multiple locations, city page that rank for a specific service, and you just want to make all those city page and generate contents, a book that will be a perfect case for this. However, when you in affiliate marketing, which where I produce content mostly, it's all about psychology for the users. It's really understanding what the user want, what he
Sure.
expect from your articles, and it's about manipulation as well. So because it's all about true like conversion optimizations, right? The way you form your phrase, I think it's something that really require a human people to write about it. And the way I build content is so much advanced that even the AI could not do it because
Right.
my process require a lot of manual process, like my entities analysis, the intent analysis, all those stuff that require access to live data. Uh, Probably in a few years, probably it will be different. Probably like the
I think we know
like
it's going to be very different, right? In a few
yeah, with
years, with
AGI and the automatic assistant like AutoGPT, maybe in a few years it would be able to make the research for me. But yeah,
yeah,
for now, I prefer human writing because of that. Because the human really, I think, is a better understanding of
sure.
what others human want,
Mm.
based on live data. I think it's the most important thing. Is super smart, can do a lot of stuff, but I think for this it lack
Human.
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe when we can start feeding it bigger prompts, like, maybe we can
Yeah,
start
the
feeding it like
for
a book.
32K, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to the what you had talked about using it to analyze the product reviews guidelines, and then so you basically feed it the product review guidelines. You say, look at this first, and then you feed it your affiliate article and say, how does this, how well does this do compared to these guidelines? Um, how big of an article can you normally do that with, or do you have to like kind of split the article up
Now,
to?
now because I'm using better chat GPT.
Uh,
And yeah, that's the thing. Most of people just buy ChatGPT Plus, which is $20 per month, cheap. And but the problem with the official ChatGPT hacks is that you can the maximum of tokens you can use for the input is
yeah.
4,096, and the same for the output. You can't
Hmm.
customize it. When you use better ChatGPT, which is an open source app that you can download on GitHub, you have a version web or Windows, Mac apps, whatever. You just have to plug your OpenAI API, yes, API key, and
Hmm.
then you can set the number of input you have. So let's say that you have a maximum of 8,000 tokens you can use actually
Hmm.
because the 32K is not released yet.
Hmm.
But you have 8,000 tokens limit. You know that the report don't need that much. So you can set the input maximum to 7,000 and just keep
Mm.
1,000 K tokens for the output. And I
Hmm.
think it can endorse at this point between I think up to 5 or 6,000 words, which is pretty good. It's probably cover most of the articles. And when the 32K will be now, it will be no limit.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I had asked you about the Better GPT the other day on Facebook. I'm definitely gonna have to look into that. I've been a little busy, but yeah, definitely want to look into the Better GPT.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, are there any other ways that, because that was actually a cool, I haven't heard of someone using it like that before with the product review guidelines and then feeding it their article. Are there any other cool things you use it for as far as analysis that you can think of right now?
For the anchor text, finding NLP friendly anchor text for the
Hmm.
backlinks, which we talked a bit earlier in the podcast.
Hmm.
I have write an article about that with the prompt.
Hmm.
But I think if you read this article, you will understand the concept of the prompt, the magic trick, which is NLP friendly. For us, it means nothing, but for Google, it means everything because it's based on NLP, which
Hmm.
is part of the algorithm of Google. So just using NLP friendly terms for almost everything, you can just optimize the understanding and the meanings of Google algorithms. So you can use it to probably rewrite FAQs, question and answers. You can use it to generate text for your backlinks,
Hmm.
those type of stuff. Probably also to optimize feature snippet. There's a few things like this that could be used. But yeah, that for the feature snippet, it's not something I have done yet, but it's something I have done. It's probably look for the when you have a keywords like rank in the top three and you have a chance to grab the feature snippet. It's just to look at what is the current feature snippet is and
Hmm.
just try to rewrite it in an NLP friendly format and add it to your code and try to see if you can steal the show to the others. I did not the made tests, but it's a lot of stuff that you can try to think out of the box with AI, and it's why I love AI because the possibilities of things you can do with it is it's just unlimited. It's just think the only limit is your brain is the ideas you bring to the table.
Nice. Yeah, it's definitely definitely some cool stuff you can do with it. I'm still basically what I'm doing now is I just have it open. I have ChatGPT open on my second monitor all day now, and
Yeah.
before I do any task, I just ask myself, can I do this with ChatGPT? So
The
I'm
Oracle.
basically just like trying to like see as much of like what I can do to like take off my workload and just what I can do with ChatGPT. And it turns out you can do a lot of stuff with it. It's pretty cool.
A lot. Yeah. That's cool.
Um,
That's a great technology to be honest. Yeah.
so yeah, maybe you need to get ChatGPT to code a scraper for you that will scrape a website for every featured snippet they are ranking for, along with the article titles, and then have it
Nice.
automatically rewrite the featured snippet for every single one and just spam it out on a spreadsheet for you. And then like I don't know, just get AI to write the articles and go try to steal their snippets or something.
Boom.
The
Um,
fun the most funny is that will be totally possible just using
Yeah.
SRPPI and do that. Yeah, of
yeah.
course.
Yeah, I wish I was smarter. I wish I had like more of like a coding background. I do have a little bit of a coding background, but it's been so long. I just wish I was a little bit more technical minded. Maybe it'd be a good
I'm
idea
waiting
to.
Copilot X, the new Copilot X, which will have a chat assistant. I'm waiting it impatiently to cut some stuff.
What
I'm
was
waiting
that?
it. Yeah, Copilot X is the new Copilot versions that will from GitHub. The
Okay.
code assistant. They will release it with GPT for technology as an assistant like ChatGPT. So from what I have here, you could probably just write a documentations of what you want and send this to the assistant with cuts for you, something like that.
Very
That's
And
nice.
wild.
also yeah, and maybe also that AutoGPT will evolve and probably be able at some point to do that. It's still early right now. It can't,
Yeah.
but I'm sure it progressed super fast. If you look at the GPT on GitHub, the number of stars and contributions on daily basis is just crazy. It's
Mm.
totally viral stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that we're early at this point still. It's a little scary. It's scary to realize
It's
that
pretty
we're early.
scary. The more I look into it, the more I'm like, at first I was just pure excitement. Now I'm like, well, but if it's going in this direction, there's a lot of things to figure out in the real world that are going to be impacted
Yeah,
pretty heavily pretty soon, right? Especially like when we consider content creation, coding, etc. Yeah,
yeah,
that got brought up pretty recently. What do we do?
yeah. Oh,
How do we
there's a lot
protect
of
ourselves?
Yeah, I think it's not if it continues to evolve that fast. Of course, it will have a terrible impact on some personal life. Lots of people will probably lost their job. Will
Yeah.
have to probably find something else. Of course, there's a lot of cons to that, but I that in everything, I always try to stay positive. And as an entrepreneur, I think we have a lot of benefits of this. We could also probably save money, employees, a lot of stuff.
For
Uh,
sure.
but yeah, of course, it's not good for everyone. It's not a lie. Uh, but that it's scary, but it's exciting,
It's
exciting, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's
it's
the way it
it's
is, right? We've got to
yeah.
take
Yeah,
it as
but
it comes,
as
and
a new
yeah,
man, we can evolve with everything and just adapt. We are
exactly.
made like this. So I think
Right.
whatever happens, we just do with it and
I
evolve.
mean,
For
personally,
sure.
if I can use AI to automate a lot of this business and spend more time gardening or something like that,
Yeah,
I'm
that would be
all for
great.
it myself.
Yeah,
Yeah, so Israel, do you
yeah,
you'd mentioned that you use Better GPT. So are you using Better GPT like 100% of the time, or are you also using ChatGPT or Playground or using the API to call other stuff? Like, what's like the main platform you're
yeah.
using it on?
That's a good question because they have different purpose. Uh, I have ChatGPT Plus. When I have small tasks for GPT-4, which is not the 4,000 input limit, I use
Mm,
ChatGPT Plus because I don't have to pay for the API cost.
mm,
Because yeah, it move up fast with better ChatGPT. I think I'm close to $25 a day. So
oh, okay.
it's
Yeah.
but I do a lot of analysis also, and when you do an analysis for just like 4,000 words of code, it's like 20 cents, 25
Hmm.
cents. So it's move
You're
out
doing a lot
quickly
then.
when you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, for big input tokens, I use better ChatGPT. When it can be done under the 4,000s, I just use better ChatGPT because it's free in my plan. Uh, Playground, I still use it. I use it for meta descriptions and title suggestion because I I consider it better than the ChatGPT API technology because the uh, ChatGPT is based on 3.5, which is like a conversational CPI styles. And if you try to ask like articles, titles, suggestions in Playground, and then you do the same in ChatGPT, you will see that Playground provide much better suggestions. So I still use Playground for this, but just only this. Just sometimes I just look at Google Search Console data, and when I see that the CTR is bad, I just refresh some titles and do testing with this. But yeah, Playground I still use it, despite that is a bit outdated, but I still consider Devent C3 better than 3.5 for this specific use case.
Gotcha. Um, oh my God, my brain just, I had something I really wanted to ask you about my brain. It must be getting late here. God, what was I going to ask? Um, oh my God, I'm actually not going to be able to think of it. So, okay, so what other tools do you use other than Playground, ChatGPT Plus, and Better GPT? Are there any other
No,
AI-based tools that you're using?
no, it's the only things I use. I'm still working on some things, but that's custom cards with GPT-4 API, but no commercials or something like that.
Gotcha. Oh, and I remember my question. Are there currently any ways that you know about to force GPT out into the internet, or is everything that it's operating on still just currently the old data? And also, do you use Bing at all to get around this? Like, do you actually use like the Bing to actually use it to go out on the internet and use live data?
Uh, yeah, before they released the API of GPT-4, I was using Bing a lot.
Mhm.
However, Bing has a lot of cons, like the formatting is sometimes weird.
I feel like it's really bad, to be honest. I feel like Bing is just, I don't know.
Yeah, but what I like it at first is that it could look at live data, but you can still always ask him, don't put the source, and damn, he don't listen, and just put always the source in the prompt and the output, so it's annoying. But no, I don't use Bing at all now. I use in the beginning because it was exciting to have an EEI that could access the web, but the result was not that great, to be honest. Like I told him a few times, scan the URL and then apply the project reviews guideline like I do now with GPT-4, but I started with Bing, and then he told me he crawled the URL and take a look on the content, but in the answers it's saying, oh, you should have these sections that you don't have, and I had. So not
Yeah.
sure. Looks like that it did not crawl properly or something, so it was not accurate at all. But no, I don't use with GPT-4 you can do anything. You don't need Bings for that.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're okay, so pretty much everything you're using it for, you're feeding in, you're using better GPT to actually feed it everything in the prompt, rather than trying to get anything to crawl out onto the internet right now. Um, yeah, so and I guess the last question
I
about
just remember your questions you asked for alternate live data. I did not for answers. No, actually, I did not found a way to get access to live data using GPT-4.
mm,
It's why comes the ideas to create a specific script that will use SRP API to get like the top ranked site, and
mm,
then a crawler to scan the content and automate everything for with AI.
mm,
But I know that the plugins will come soon for
mm,
accessing the web,
mm,
but it won't be as advanced as I would need it to be. So no, actually, I think the big lack of AI is that the data is from like almost 2 years ago. So
yeah. And so are you using, last question, are you using GPT-4 for everything, or do you still use 3.5 for a good amount of stuff?
everything.
Everything G
Except the titles. Yeah, because uh, honestly, I consider the difference huge in the
Yeah.
terms of quality. Also, the most use case I have is data analysis, and GPT-3 is I think the maximum input you can have is 2000. It's really low.
Mm,
So no, GPT-4 for everything. Like everything, I stick for quality over quantity.
gotcha. Yeah, I think when GPT 3.5 was the only thing, I was kind of like, oh, this is pretty cool. Um, but it wasn't like as big of a deal for me. And then when GPT-4 came out and I tested on some stuff, I was just like, oh my God. And
Yeah,
that was like my light bulb moment as far as AI goes.
the
Um,
quality is game changing. Yeah.
yeah, it's insane what it can do. Yeah, so now that AI is here to stay, yeah, what are your thoughts on the SEO industry in general? Do you have any kind of fear that, uh, ChatGPT is going to
I know
replace our
that
jobs
there's
anytime
a
soon? Or
lot of people that are scared right now.
mm,
Because not gonna lie, a lot of things will be probably be able to be automated with AI in
mm,
a near futures. Don't know really how many years, but it won't take 10 years for sure. Uh,
mm,
if I'm afraid, I don't think so. I'm really a guy that live on daily basis. Like I wake up the morning and I plan my day that day. I'm not someone that plan everything. It's probably why I think I started with affiliate marketing, because at start I'm not someone that is super well organized. So I
mm,
prefer just start my day and live the day as it's present itself. And AI is about the same thing. Yes, I have some ideas of what could happen. Like everyone, I'm thinking, but we don't know what will happen with GPT-5. Not,
mm.
they say that
That's the
the
end. That's
stuff.
the end of the world. GPT, yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. It's what everyone say, but I don't know. I see it positively. Like I said earlier, I think I could just use it to save a lot of time and save some employees. But it had its cons also. Just give you an example. Building arrow links is part of my link building strategy for years for my affiliate website. It's how I
Mm,
leverage my brand authority with brand mentions from our authority sites. And since the arrival of AI, it's it's crazy because the rate of success have dropped so much that I plan stopping doing arrow. Uh,
that's because
everyone is
everyone,
using
yeah, everyone's
yeah,
using
everyone is
ChatGPT
using
and
AI
spamming
to
it, right?
pitch. Yeah, everyone is using AI to pitch journalists. So instead to have like 100 replies, they have only 1,000s now. They are totally spammed like crazy. I have
Yeah.
even seen an ads recently of someone that built tools that automate their real pitch process. That's just crazy. So yeah, there are some cons. Some things that I'm not happy that AI can do like this because it caused me an additional challenge for growing my affiliate website.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm pretty happy with what it have to offers. And if I'm scared, I prefer just don't think right now.
But that ties into what you were saying about if you're an entrepreneur, you kind of have a choice,
Yeah,
right? You can
yeah,
either give into fear, which is going to make you closed off, or you can start, playing around with these different concepts and see where it takes you, right? Like there's
yeah.
opportunity or there's limitation. But yeah.
Yeah, I think if I can, first when AI arrived, I was against it. Seriously, I was. It just it would just serve as spamming the web with
Yeah.
content and that stuff. But
Hmm.
at some point, I realized that everyone was using it. Like everyone. I
Yeah.
don't want to be the guy that is left apart
Yeah.
because I don't have the choice to follow the
Right.
trend. Is otherwise I would be in the past now. So I just started to get some interest for this and say, okay, everyone use it for a reason. So let me try and see what I can do with it. And then boom. I just
Yeah.
realized that it was so mind blowing that I now I could not live without it. I'm using it
Yeah.
every day. Every day I'm doing new tests, testing new prompts. It's a endless process.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
yeah, I think it's it must be an opportunity because if you don't take this opportunity, you will just be left behind
Yeah.
everyone because everyone is using it now, and you don't want to be the guy that don't follow
Yeah.
the
Exactly.
Until it's too late, right?
Yeah,
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 then you're lost. I mean, this train is moving so quickly that I
yeah,
feel like if you're not kind of grabbing hold to whatever you can at this point in time, if you wait a year and then you're like, oh, you know what? I guess it is here to stay. We can't fight it. You're gonna
yeah.
be so far behind at that point.
And
Not to
I
say that
think
it's
we
gonna be
are.
hopeless, but
Yeah, I think we are in a good position because we are at the start of everything. So
yeah.
we can follow everything. Personally, I look at the news about AI every day, and I want to stay informed of what's happens. And I think it's the best way to handle this at this point is really to know what's happened and what will happen in the futures
Yeah.
because you want to be prepared. You don't want that bam,
How
you
do you?
wake up one day and realize, okay,
Oh,
you don't have any purpose in your life. So
yeah. How?
you want to evolve with the yeah.
How do you feel about like this Google engineer that quit his job saying that we've really fucked up here and it's going the wrong direction? Because now
Yeah.
it's like almost like there's counter revolutionaries to the movement of AI. And it's really starting to look like the Skynet kind of Terminator argument, which I think is pretty interesting, especially, if you're paying attention to AI news, that kind of stuff
Yeah.
comes up pretty often. And I feel like as SEOs, we're more concerned with how it affects our business, and then the big picture is philosophical.
If you have seen the interview with the CEO of Microsoft when they started this, he said that he see AI like an extra tools for people instead to be a tool that replace people. Uh,
Mhm.
I think is what he say is part true because uh, yes, job was evolved, but they say like. Uh, if you come 1 years ago, there is no job like a prompt engineer. It doesn't
Right.
exist. And now you can do that. And if you're good, you can have 100K per years in revenue and salary. So it would just create new job and you would have to probably evolve if your job need to be replaced somehow. But
Mhm.
I think like I say, we are at the start of these revolutions and we are at the greatest times to just follow this and monitor this closely to evolve in the same time that AI evolve because yeah, that's evolved pretty fast. That is
Sure.
crazy. It has been GPT-3, then GPT-3.4, and then 4 now, and it's just wow, it just don't stop. Yeah, $10 billion in a tech. It's what
Yeah.
it does. It's just but yeah, we just have to follow this. And yeah.
For
But
sure.
I don't think it's the end of the line. Probably he has been paid by Elon Musk just to try to kill OpenAI
Yeah, maybe.
and
Now,
He
start
have
hates
you
it. He hates
did you
it.
read the I can't remember what the name of the theory is, but where you always say thank you to the AI as you use it. Because
yeah,
further on it would like catalog and
It'll
remember
remember.
who said yeah. Yeah, I mean like
yeah,
it's like
that's
a big theory. I can't remember the name of it
That's
though,
awesome.
but I
I'm
thought
I'm
it was
definitely gonna
funny, yeah.
start. I definitely say
yeah.
please. I'm gonna
It
start
was pretty
saying thank
funny.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, just treat
Um,
it like a person basically is what the concept is.
yeah,
Yeah.
so speaking of jobs, yeah, we've definitely gone a bit over time here, so let's kind of start trying to wrap things up for you so
Yeah.
we can all get out of here. But speaking of jobs, real quick, if you were newer to SEO or maybe you're looking for a kind of change of pace and do something a little bit different in SEO these days, what do you think you would advise someone to focus on now in 2023?
I think I will surprise probably some people with my answers, but I think we will still keep the two PRs, which is content and links. Uh, we'll start with links because uh, it, with how imagine all the content that is publishing on the web right now with AI or all the people that's scaling content. Okay, the competitions of good content will just continue to increase. So what will make the difference? The links.
Hmm.
So at this point, I really believe that the links industry will never fall off. It will just continue to grow. Uh, and the content, it will be harder. There's different process, of course, but I think someone that want to uh, be in advanced content uh, that will offering advanced content service
Hmm.
like example like I do with my topic cluster. So something that is super specific that need extrinsic knowledge and time to do will have only a chance to stay awake in this industry. But of course, the sample writing agency that sell cheap content from India, whatever,
Yeah, they're
they
dead.
will all die. They will
Yeah.
all die because AI does what they does at small portion of the price and much
Hmm.
better.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but I
So
still believe that content and links will still become they will stay the PRs of the zero.
for sure. Yeah, and unless people stop visiting websites at all and they just use AI to get
Right.
all the answers right. But I guess we'll see what
Yeah.
happens with that. But besides a cheap content company, are there any other areas that you would advise people to stay away from? For example, maybe ads-based revenues sites.
No, there is a lot of discussion about this, but people have to realize that Google make money with publishers. So
Hmm.
it doesn't make sense that people
Right.
that have websites that make money revenue be scared with that. I don't believe that.
It's actually a
No.
good point.
Uh,
Yeah.
Seriously, I have on my website, their traffics from Bing has grown to probably almost 20-25% the last time I have looked at that. Uh, and we know that Bing have now AI, and my traffic from Bing has just moved it up a lot more. And overall, my website have more traffic than they had before. And we know that Google won't never replace Google search with AI. It can't do this because it will lose money with PPC campaign, will lose money with
Right.
publishers because it may ads, it may revenue with the ads on the publisher's website, and people won't. Yeah, lots of people like reading. They want to read a whole article. They don't just want a sentence. So no, I don't really believe this. And honestly, if a lot of people think about this, fine, the competition will just drop and it's good for us.
Yeah.
For sure. Um, I guess last question before we start taking off. Do you think Google's CEO will be replaced soon?
Uh, I don't know. Um,
Just
I
with
don't have.
regards to how bad they seem to have kind of dropped the
Yeah.
ball with regarding AI, considering they were kind of there first. They have all this technology already. They just
Yeah.
failed to get a product.
Yeah. To be honest, yes, it did not been super agile in the past months with all what's happened. But if you try to take its place 1 minute, you have a technology that can completely kill your company. What you do?
Yeah.
It's hard.
Snuff it.
You
It did
keep it
not.
a secret.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
That's
too
what they.
good. Yeah.
It's what they did. They never released the eye because they know that it was that will kill their revenue because
They're just
all
trying
their
to.
revenue is based on ads, like 90%, something like that. Uh,
Yeah.
and Microsoft just seen the opportunity. Oh, I can get an investment of 10 billions in one tech that will kill my computer. Let's do it. It's what
Yeah,
happened.
rock and
Yeah.
roll.
And Microsoft has been fucking smart on this. Seriously,
That's
for
inter-
them, it's nothing. 10 billions, and the how many damage they have made to Google is considerable. So it has been a smart play from Microsoft. But yeah, if you try to be in the shoes of the CEO of Google, it's not easy for him. I don't know why. uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't have a specific opinion, but I can probably gauge the stress that he have right now.
that's an interesting idea though. That maybe they just sat on AI just so they could milk their current business model for all the revenue it was worth before it just gets
Yeah,
completely destroyed,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, okay. So last question. Any
Yeah.
stock picks? Not financial advice. Any stock
Oh,
picks?
dang, right. Yeah, because you're a do you still actively trade?
Day trading? No, I trade,
Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
but
It's hard trying to day trade because I was day trading
oh,
crypto for a while and trying to do that while running an SEO business. I mean, was your stress maxed out? Because I felt like my hair was falling out.
I did trade crypto. I did money. I lost money.
Hmm.
I did trade stocks. I made money. I lost money. The problem is I'm not good to sell. That's
Yeah,
that's that's
it's
that's
hard,
why
huh?
I have changed my positions a bit and now doing the long terms.
Yeah.
Uh, I have cryptos, but it's all in Ethereum now. But
Well, it's
I
especially easier now that we're in bear market, right? With the stocks and with the
yeah,
crypto. It's like, oh yeah, I can calm down. I can just hold. And then hypothetically, when we hit a certain, bull market, I'll be prepared to
yeah.
sell. Anyhow, we got to tell ourselves that every day, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think crypto actually is probably a good entry point. I think it will crash further because it does every time. Every time it's just crash, move a bit, and crash further. But even at this price, I think it's still a good entry because I'm confident that Ethereum will hit 10K one day or another. It's just a matter of time. But like I just invest, I just put everything in Ethereum and just hold that. And when Ethereum will hit 10K or just will show a new bear market, I would just sell and repeat the process. But it's really long term. My stocks strategy is the same thing now. When I started with day trading, I was in OTC market first, like penny stocks, like all
Yeah.
shitty stuff, and I made a lot of money. I was like, damn, I don't need to do HCO anymore.
I
And
remember
I
that.
felt
You
like
just
a
disappeared. You
stupid boy, and I
disappeared.
lost
Bye.
everything.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember that. You just completely disappeared from SEO. You're like, later, guys, I'm a stock
yeah,
trader
yeah,
now.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was because I like when I decide to start investing in OTC stock, we were like in uptrend market. You
Yeah.
could make money, put money everywhere. You will make money. So I was like fully naive to think that that will continue. But I'm not a professional trader, so I'm not here to give advice. But I'm a guy that like to have diversity in my income, so it's why I still keep money in stocks,
Yeah.
crypto, and I split in a lot of place. But no, it's not in my daily routine now anymore. And day
Gotcha.
trading is terrible, man. You don't want to watch graph every day, every
Yeah.
minute, and have the stress to press on a button.
No. It's fun when you start. You're like, oh wow, the casino is here. It's so much
Yeah.
fun. And then, you're a few weeks in, maybe you
You're
make it a few
sweating.
months, and you're like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah,
what
yeah,
did I just do? Yeah. And the amount of money you can lose so rapidly.
yeah.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, it goes fast. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess, yeah, we'll go ahead and end it there. Yeah, we really appreciate you coming out and talking to us.
Yeah,
Is there
thanks for the
anything?
invitation.
Yeah, for sure.
Of
Um,
course.
is there anything you want to plug? Anything you want to advertise before we take off?
Uh, no, not something that
What
comes to my mind.
what's your link building company? Where can people find you? Anything like that?
Yes, but people can find me just searching my name on Facebook. I am on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. Also, I'm not super active on YouTube, but I would try to be more active in the futures. I have also my blog, SirLinksalot.com, where I publish articles when I have time. So yeah,
Cool.
just searching my name, I'm sure you will find me.
Yeah, I recommend you guys all give him a follow on Facebook. That's where I follow him at. And definitely a cool guy to follow. He's always posting stuff, and it's always interesting to learn from him. And he kind of, you seem to kind of post your own kind of thing. A lot of people, I feel like, kind of just jump on kind of like hyped topics and just post about that. But it seems like you're always kind of exploring your own kind of thing, and you bring a very different
Yeah,
perspective.
it's important for me to write about something that people don't write about. Because what is SEO? Like this thing and stuff. I already thousands of articles on that, and it won't help anyone if I write about this. So I just try to, when I write something, to bring something new. So a new perspective, new ideas, new strategy, like stuff that people probably won't see anywhere else.
For sure.
And yeah, I don't write just for the pleasure because I don't really like writing. But when I have a good things to share, I just take the time because I know that it helps a lot of people.
For sure. Well, I
It's
appreciate
great.
it. Um, and yeah, maybe, yeah, thanks again for coming out. And maybe we'll have you on again when GPT-5 comes out if we're all still alive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for coming out. And
Cool.
yeah, we'll see you next time.
Appreciate
All
it.
right. Bye,
Yeah.
guys.
Bye bye.
So, bye.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to check the links below for more info on this topic, as well as other cool stuff like SEO case studies, our Facebook community, and our link building services. And like always, please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks, and happy ranking.